I've used this guest who does a phenomenal job.
This dude from SB Nation, I've heard. Yeah,
I have like a whole calling list of SB Nation guys. I don't know why. I just do. Like, legit, if you listen closely, I have them on every week. But he does a spectacular job. I love having him on.
No, I've heard him a couple times. He's good.
We'll do everything we can to meet your expectations. Licensed and insured in all of New England, Econ Electrical Contractors offers competitive quotes for residential and commercial work. Call Econ Electrical Contractors 401-297-1844. For service upgrades, call 401-297-1844. For pools, spas, PV modules, and more, call 401-297-1844. Or check out EconElectrical.net, leading the trade in quality workmanship. Econ Electrical Contractors. No job is too big or too small. Call today for a free estimate. 401-297-1844. Improve or upgrade the electrical work in your home or business safely, affordably, and as always, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Econ Electrical Contractors. 401-297-1844.
My guest said that some guy got hurt on April 20th.
They're over here from 990WBOB.com.
Ask me something. I don't know.
Let you know a little secret.
So
You see, 50 years
First
now,
segment what is that?
I always visit my boys over at King Philip. Conveniently located at 391 Metacom Avenue. And historic.
Nikki related, I don't care.
Wide, shipping used cars and trucks. Check them out online at KingPhilipMotors.com. Or give my friend John Buzz 401-323-7853. Mention 990WBOB.com sent you and enjoy the savings. That's King Philip Motors, Coastal Rhode Island, or online at KingPhilipMotors.com.
Demand the truth. It's not just a show, it's a lifestyle. Now more than ever, it's important to sift through the propaganda to get to the core of what's really going on. Hi, I'm your host, Will Turbot, with
Kevin LeProd. We will continue to expose injustice, inspire peaceful action, and demand the truth.
Listen to us live each week and on demand here on 990WBOB.com.
This is 990WBOB.com, the home of internet entertainment from Rhode Island to the world. 990WBOB.com. 990WBOB.com is an independent media outlet.
No, I was smelling for his name.
Good evening, and welcome to Demand the Truth, an hour in time designed to educate, expose injustice, and inspire action. Here is your host, Mr. Will Turbot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another worldwide broadcast, 990WBOB.com, Renegade Radio. This is Demand the Truth. I'm your host, Will Turbot. Follow me on Twitter at Will_Turbot, TURBITT, Facebook, Will Turbot, YouTube /Demand the Truth. And I'm going to be breaking down Bilderberg 2017. I took a trip out there. It was insane. I did a lot of things. I went in with some people in the alternative media. We investigated that. We went out and we did some investigations into Seth Rich. We went to, so I'll tell you guys about that too. But I have some listeners, as some of you guys know, that are well aware of everything that's going on in the world and probably far more informed than myself. And then other people that are listening right now that have no idea what the Bilderberg Group is. So I'm going to begin the show talking about what exactly the Bilderberg Group is. Because for me, it's the pinnacle of importance. I think it's the number one thing. Honestly, 9/11 is what woke me up. But I think there's nothing more important than the Bilderberg Group because it's proven, it's legitimate, it's out in the open, and it's the most crazy, insane thing pretty much out there, and I'll get into that. So years ago, when I first got into this information, I like you guys know here on the show, and if you guys are watching on Facebook or Twitter, go to 990WBOB.com, put the audio down in the video, and click listen live so we get the viewers. And like I said, make sure you guys are sharing this information too. The point of this information is not to tell you guys, the same people I talk to all the time, we need to share this information and spread the information. That's the whole reason I'm on the radio in the first place. So anyways, I was trying to tell people years ago about the Bilderberg Group. And I had actually taken a trip down to D.C. to see some family and friends in 2009. And I've kind of been awakened to the fact that everything wasn't what I was told as far back as 2006. So in 2009, I had a pretty good idea of what was going on, although I hadn't had all the kinks figured out. So I went down there with my family and also to see some family and friends down there. And we were touring D.C. with one of my uncles. He lives down in D.C. And my dad, and my uncle, you know, he's a smart dude, and my dad's a smart dude. And then so we go to different places in D.C., and they'd be like, oh, do you see that? Oh, yeah, do you know that this person built that, and this was that because of this and that? And then my dad'd be like, well, did you know this and then that? And then I chime in, and I'd be like, well, did you know that these K Street lobbyists actually da-da-da-da? So they were, I guess, a little annoyed by that. And then throughout the trip, I was saying, you know, I was putting my 2 cents in at that point. And it got to the point where somebody said to me, a very mild-mannered person said to me, look, Will, no effing conspiracies. And then I said, all right, well, if that's not true, here's the Bilderberg Group. And the Bilderberg Group is literally the definition of a conspiracy. Like I've said before on the show, anybody that doesn't know what a conspiracy is, it's 2 or more people getting together to commit a crime or some type of negative or nefarious act. Now that happens every single day. People get locked up every single day in courtrooms throughout the United States and the world for that matter for a conspiracy. It happens every day. It's a fact of life. Secondarily, the term conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist was actually coined by the CIA after the Warren report came out about the Kennedy assassination. So if you questioned Kennedy's death, and a recent poll years ago said that 93% of Americans question the official story of the Kennedy assassination, you were to be slandered as a conspiracy theorist. So that word has a certain stigma to it. But yes, every year, the Bilderberg Group is this. The Bilderberg Group is exactly proof of what I've been saying for all these years, all this time. And I told family, friends, I told everybody this for the longest time. The Bilderberg Group was first caught meeting in 1954 in Oosterbeek, Holland. Now this group is 120 to 150 of the world's most richest, profitable, influential leaders of the world, and they meet in secret. I'm going to tell you some of the people that have been there and how these people have shaped world affairs. Now, this group was created by the Rockefeller family, the Rothschild family, also the royal family of the Netherlands, and 2 of the other main people besides the Rockefeller family were Joseph Redinger and Prince Bernhard. Those guys were both Nazis. Every single year, since 1954, the world's richest and most elite people have met together in secret at the behest of the Rockefeller family, who I've gone through their quotes, and how they want to destroy America, and they openly admit it in their autobiographies and their books. And also, also Prince Bernhard and Joseph Redinger, 2 Nazis, and the British royal family. All of these people have done very, very negative things, admit it, and they meet in secret every year to control world events. Now, some of the people that meet at the Bilderberg Group are literally the world's most influential people. I'm going to get into who goes there in the past, but who also is going this year. So some of the people that go are like Prince Charles, David Cameron, Hillary, Henry Kissinger goes there every year, Colin Powell, Bush, Gerald Ford, John Kerry. It doesn't make a difference if you're a Democrat or Republican, but it's not just political figures. There's people, like I said, David Petraeus, former head of the CIA, Ben Bernanke, head of the Federal Reserve, Jeff Bezos, founder and CEO of Amazon, Bill Gates, Eric Schmidt from Google, and then you'll have people from Santander also there with people from Goldman Sachs and other banks, competing banks. So there's this idea that we're in competition with each other, but they're really not. And this group, so first and foremost, it is illegal for sitting United States representatives to meet secretly and discuss policy. It's illegal for them to do that. If you're doing something good, it's done in front of everybody on the Senate or House floor. And if you're doing something good, you shouldn't have to hide it from somebody. But this group is secretive. They put a private gate for this group. They added more trees. They have security cameras. They have armed bodyguards. They have the local police there, which is also illegal. So it goes off this act, which is called the Logan Act, which was created in 1799, which, like I said, prohibits United States representatives from meeting illegally to discuss policy. Now, this group openly admits it discussed policy. This group created the European movement, which would go on to become the European Union, and it openly brags about creating policy, and it has done so for many, many years. And another interesting thing is it's not just business, it's not just banking. There's also people from CERN there. The head of CERN was at this year's Bilderberg Group. And we're going to get into also some of Donald Trump's secretaries and underlings going there too. But just to show you, again, the influence that this group has, in 1991, the Bilderberg Group took place, and there were two people who had never went to that group. It was Bill Clinton and Tony Blair. In 1992, they became the heads of their respective countries. Angela Merkel from Germany, she went there in 2005. A few months later, she was the head of Germany. And then fast forward a few years, Emmanuel Macron went there in 2014. Now he's the head of France. So you can see this is a group created illegally by a bunch of Nazis and Rockefellers who admit they want to destroy the world, and they pick and choose world leaders, and they make stuff. So anybody that was calling me crazy, my uncles, my friends, my family, the random people online, and I think I've actually made it now, guys. I would like some thanks and some cheers for this one. I actually have 2 trolls now. So I think I finally made it in the world. I have 2 trolls now. But yeah, these people have been telling me for the longest time I'm crazy and I'm a conspiracy theorist. Well, if I'm a conspiracy theorist, there's a conspiracy that's happening right there. Another thing about the Bilderberg Group is that nobody admitted that the Bilderberg Group even existed for several years. Only within the last 7 to 9 years does the Bilderberg Group even admit it existed. So before, people didn't even act like this group was a thing. But in the last couple of years, due to journalists like Charlie Skelton, Jim Tucker, Alex Jones, David Icke, all sorts of alternative media, and thankfully The Guardian, which is one semi-mainstream place that was reporting on it for a very long time, we've known about that, and also Matt Drudge putting it into the mainstream. Now they actually have its own website. Don't take my word for it. Go online, just Google the Bilderberg Group. They have their own website, and they have the list of participants, and they also have the press release of what they're talking about. So I went down there on Thursday. It was my first Bilderberg Group, and once we come back from the break in a couple minutes, I do have a few more minutes to break, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about just what the Bilderberg Group is, but then I'm going to talk about my trip after the break and what happened when I was down there. I'll just say that I caught some Bilderberg members when they weren't expecting it. I also got kicked out of a few places. I also met some really amazing people and had some high notes and some low notes. Bilderberg Group in 2011, there was a film by an individual named Dan Dix, who was an activist from Vancouver, Canada, and he's been an activist for a very long time. He's got tons of videos. He's been to many Bilderberg Group meetings, and he's generally a knowledgeable guy about all this information. I had the chance to meet him down there. And he made a film that came out in 2011, which is available for free online on YouTube, called Turning Point. And in 2011 was a turning point because we were people like myself were spreading the word about Bilderberg. People were starting to admit it existed, and the people that were coming out to protest the Bilderberg Group was a lot. At first there would only be people didn't even know about it. Then there would be a couple people, then it got to be dozens, and then even in London, I believe it was in 2013, they had hundreds, if not maybe thousands of people there. When I showed up there this time, there was 8 people there. There was literally more security guards and policemen there than alternative press and protesters. There wasn't even one mainstream news reporter there. There was only a representative there from Al Jazeera. And I don't even know if they took any information. There was a documentary group from Austria and Germany that was there, and that made up like 4 or 5 people. There was American Free Press there. There's Charlie Skelton from The Guardian there, but overall there wasn't anybody there. And the more shocking thing is, as you're going around D.C., you're going around Chantilly, Virginia, at the Westfield Marriott, where this year's Bilderberg Group took place, it's so crazy that the leaders of the world, like the heads of CERN, the presidents, the heads of the private Federal Reserve Bank, the heads of all these multinational conglomerates are meeting in secret. And these are people that would be reported on every day anyways. So, these are people like Kissinger and all these other people. If they just met in secret with one person, the news would be all over it. But these are the people that the news covers every single day. But when they all meet in secret illegally, then there's a complete news blackout on that. Why? It's because the heads of those multinational media conglomerations, because they're not even American anymore, go to these groups. And David Rockefeller, when he was alive, openly talked about how they have to keep it quiet there. It's a thing called Chatham House rules where you're not allowed to talk about anything. So it's an illegal event that's going on. And we're coming up to break in a sec, but in the meantime, Google the Bilderberg Group. Don't take my word for it. And then call the FBI and say, hey, do you guys know that these people are meeting illegally? It just ended, but you can still get, there's several United States representatives. I'm going to go through who was there and who's been in the past when we come back from break. But, call Jack Reed, call Sheldon Whitehouse, call Gina Raimondo, call the FBI, say, hey, our leaders are meeting secretly and illegally, and that's not right, and my tax money didn't finance this. Let's get to the bottom of this. Call the local media, call the national media. Just go to the contact us on every website, NBC, CBS, ABC. I do that all the time. You just contact them, tweet at them. It's taking you guys. Also, you guys want to go and back to 990wbob.com and check out my past casts, especially the first 2 shows, to see where I'm coming from. Spread this information. We have a lot of listeners, but the station manager is saying you guys are not sharing it, and we need to share that information. That's why I'm doing this. So stay tuned on the other side. I'm going to break down my trip to Bilderberg 2017 when we get back. Stay tuned. Demand the Truth. We will be right back here on Renegade Radio, 990wbob.com.
Join WBOB Wednesday, June 14th as the action heats up with an all-new clash of the Internet Titans. Internet trolls battle each other for social dominance live on the air. These trolls pull no punches.
It was crazy.
Let the views fly. Discussion is never done.
Oh man, yeah, it was
on the edge of reason.
It was crazy going down there, man. Like, just to see these people going in there and like hiding their faces in shame, and then I got kicked. I went to the place at the airport where the private jets were landing to take me to Bilderberg. I was in there. I got kicked out really quick. Some guy was like trying to push me away, smack my camera out of my hand, and all this stuff. It was really crazy. Seeing the world leaders right in front of you, the most important people in the world, right in front of you, not only just meeting in secret and illegally, but when they're entering with shame and covering their faces because they know what they're doing is shameful and illegal. It's crazy. It's just weird.
Equality as our number one priority. Because
no, but Donald Trump he wasn't there, but I'm going to talk about it. He had at least 3, maybe 4 advisors there. And one of those advisors is a member of, used to be a Rothschild banker, and I mean, so it's, even still, people don't know what to make of it because, there's a certain group of people that think Trump's not perfect, but he's against the establishment. I don't know if he is or not, honestly, I still to this point don't know, but if Trump has people there at the Bilderberg Group, that's not a good look, That's not a good look. Maybe he's going to say, oh, what are you guys talking about? Infiltrate it? I don't know, but I'll be interested to see, man, because the Bilderberg Group is like the worst of the worst, to me.
To unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So
Can you imagine if LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Harden, or all those famous basketball players were meeting secretly for 3 days? The press would be all over that. They'd be like, what the hell's going on? But we have the heads of the world bank, people that are the presidents, the secret, and nobody cares. Nobody cares.
High quality service and customer satisfaction. We will do everything we can to meet your expectations. Licensed and insured in all of New England.
Because if they were doing good things that they didn't want to hide from, they would just do it out in the open, and they would invite the press. But they're not. That's because they're doing bad stuff.
For service upgrades, call 401-297-1844. For pools,
Bad Bilderberg Group.
Call 401-297-1844.
Don't worry, I'm gonna get these guys peacefully, positively. I'm gonna expose these jerks.
Job is too big or too small. Call today for a free estimate. 401-297-1844. Improve or upgrade the electrical work in your home or business safely, affordably, and as always, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Non-electrical contractors. 401-297-1844.
You're listening to 990wbob.com, Renegade Radio.
Alright, we are back from our first break. We're going to have a special guest popping in later, but I'm going to tell you guys right now about my trip to Bilderberg. And if you want to see a little more in-depth coverage, if you want to see some of the videos, go on my Facebook, add me as a friend, and subscribe to me, Will Turbit, Turbitt, and have some videos also on Twitter and some photos up there too, at Will_Turbit. And I'm putting some more videos up this evening, YouTube/Demand the Truth. So I head down there late Wednesday night. I get out of work Wednesday, drive down there throughout the night. Don't get back there. We have a little trouble. Don't get down there till like 5:30 in the morning. Get a couple hours sleep. Head over to the Bilderberg. Now I'm driving there, and as I'm getting there, the entire hotel. It's a public hotel. It's a Westfield Marriott. It's a normal Marriott, but the entire hotel is cordoned off with fencing, makeshift fencing that's covered the whole thing. There's do not trespass signs. At one opening, it's completely blocked off by police. There's bike police going everywhere. It's Fairfax County, Virginia police. And then also at the very front, there's some yellow barricades and a police checkpoint. And everything is closed off. You can't get in. However, it looks to the average person, if you're just driving by, there's no like, big signs or flags or anything that says Bilderberg's meeting here. It just looks like maybe there's some construction going on. You can't really tell. It looks fairly innocuous. It looks pretty quiet, like, who knows what's going on there. Maybe they're just doing a little construction. So I show up there. There's about 8 people there. There's, like I said, 4 people from a film crew from Germany, Austria, and some other places. There's a guy, YouTuber named Titus Frost. It's not his real name, it's his YouTube name. And I followed some of his work from before, so I met him down there. But the first person I ran into was Charlie Skelton, who is not only a writer, not only a comedian, but he's a journalist for The Guardian. And I started talking to him, and he was like, well, yeah, people are going to start arriving between 12 and noon. They meet each other around 6, 7 for a little cocktail and get to know each other, and the meetings start tomorrow morning firm. And he was really friendly. He was giving me a lot of interesting advice. I was live streaming while I was down there. And then I wanted to ask the cops. So I walked over to the cops, and I played stupid at first because no one's going to talk to you if you just say, hey, what's going on there is messed up and illegal. What are you doing? So they're obviously not going to talk. So I played like I didn't know what was going on. And I went over to the cops, and I said, hey, guys, how's it going? How does it feel to protect the world's most important people? Just to see if I get them to talk. And they didn't respond. And they're like, oh, we can't talk. You have to talk to the head guy over there. I was like, who's that? He's like, oh, he's the dude with the gold. So I was like, all right, word. So I went over to that dude, and I was like, so how does it feel to protect the world's most important people? I was like, you guys enjoying this? And he was like, oh, yeah, just shrugs it off. And then he like kind of turned his back on me. And he wouldn't talk. I was like, do you know that what's the meeting that's occurring here is actually against the Logan Act? It's illegal for these guys to meet in secret. And then he goes, Logan Act? I heard of Logan the movie, but not Logan Act. And they started laughing at me and completely turned their back on me. So that got me upset. And I said, do you guys know that you guys swore an oath to uphold the Constitution? It is your job. That is literally your job, is to uphold the Constitution. That's what police officers are supposed to do. You guys are public servants. And you guys are doing something that's not only illegal on a federal level, but also Terry McAfee, the governor of Virginia, was there. And it's illegal for him to meet in secret. Now, something I'm predicting here first, anybody that's listening or watching, make sure right now you hear this prediction. I think it's a very good chance that Terry McAfee, governor of Virginia, will be running for president in 2020. I was even thinking this before because he has a close relationship with Hillary Clinton, and even some of the WikiLeaks emails showcase that. But now that he's a member of Bilderberg, like I said, Tony Blair went there, became prime minister next year. Bush went there, president next year. Merkel next year. Macron next year. So all these people go there 1 year, and then the next year they're the heads of stuff. So look for possibly him in 2020. So then I started yelling at them. I was like, at these cops, I was like, these guys are meeting here illegally. You guys took an oath to the Constitution, and you guys are not only not upholding it, but you guys are allowing these people to commit crimes right in front of you. You guys are facilitating this. I was like, both my grandfathers took an oath to the Constitution and fought for this country. They would be rolling over in their graves if they knew you guys are doing this. How dare you do this? These people are causing war and genocide and economic depravity across, and they admit it. And I was quoting from David Rockefeller's autobiography, and then saying this group is a group of Nazis. You guys are protecting a group of Nazis. So if you want to hear me yell at some dumb cops, then check out that video there, because I tried to be nice with these guys at first, but they weren't very nice. So I was wrapping things up there, talking to some more of the people, live streaming, And then we decided to go over, because Bilderbergers were still arriving at that point, we went over to Dulles International Airport because some of them are arriving there. Interesting thing about this is, just like any other group, although it's 120 to 150 of the world's elite, there's still higher members and lower members. So there's some people that may only come 1 or 2 times or only 1 time because they're useful to them, or find out that they're not useful, or they're just trying to run them. So there's an inner core, inner circle, a steering committee is the actual term that they use on their official website, is the steering committee. And the members remain pretty much unchanged, even throughout some of the decades. Some of the members have remained there for a very long time. So there's different levels to the Bilderberg group, obviously, just like any other organization. So people were landing on regular planes, but also the important people for Bilderbergers were arriving in this private jet terminal. So when I get there, and as soon as I get off the shuttle to arrive at the airport after parking, I come up and I see Luke Rukowski. He's over there. He's just confronted a bunch of Bilderbergers there, and he's on the outside. So I'm talking to him, asking him what's going on, asking him, what do you think of, Trump's advisors there? Do you think Trump knows about this? What do you think about that? And he couldn't even give me a straight answer. He was asking another guy from American Free Press that same thing. But yeah, I went in there and I saw several Bilderberg members, and I'll also tell you about what happened when I got kicked out of the private jet area when we come back from break. And we do have a bunch of new listeners out there. Any new listeners out there, check out the Pastcast, 990wbob.com. Just go to the category, Demand the Truth, see where I'm coming from. The entire thrust of this show is well-documented, well-researched information that cannot be debated. I'm just giving you guys the facts. I'm giving you guys the information. I might not be the best presenter of this information, but I'm giving you guys the facts. So if you don't like the way I present it, you don't have to share the show. Share something else. Share the facts that I'm giving to you that cannot be denied. Share it whatever way that you want. But the reason I'm on the radio and the reason I'm doing this show is because we need to share this information and spread the truth. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. It's a desperate situation. So, again, check that out. Check me out on Twitter at Will_Turbit, T-U-R-B-I-T-T, Facebook Will Turbit, and also YouTube/Demand the Truth. We'll be back. The longest segment back on Demand the Truth. Stay tuned.
Excuse me. About halfway through the next segment, I'll bring you in and ask you a question.
All right. We hate everybody's opinion, but by the end of the show,
Just a couple
we hate our own opinion.
What we'll do
Just a different perspective.
Yeah, no, I'll have you run after
Listen to anybody else.
after the last segment. I'll have you ride shotgun with me for the rest of the show, and then
990wbob.com. Derelict Dummies, Mondays at 9. Yeah, roll over and go to sleep.
Sometimes,
Later a cigarette.
The summer's here and the heat is on as CES Boxing returns to Twin River Casino Friday, June 9th as Worcester's own Kyrie Gregg battles Greg Vendetti. Plus, New Bedford's Ray Oliveira Jr. faces Jose Rivera of Harvard in a long-awaited rematch, along with the return of Providence's Anthony Marcella and the highly anticipated debut of hard-hitting heavyweight Giuseppe Cusimano. Tickets are on sale now at CESBoxing.com or the Twin River box office. Dear Journal, today I went back in time. I went to the Shelter arcade bar. I tasted some crafty brews, but that wasn't the best part. Vintage video games, the late 80s, early 90s.
my week was very good.
Stay, but the reason
I'm happier than I've ever been. I mean, I'm still pissed off that all this injustice is happening, and I have to spend my free time fighting it. But besides that, I'm very happy. How about you?
Chicken, bacon, and banana peppers.
Good, you look happy.
The Italian
Look cheerful.
pie, tomato sauce, mushrooms, green and red peppers. Oh, my mouth is watering thinking about it. They also have apps, snacks.
Oh, okay, good. So it's
all
not
sorts
because
of
you
good
did
stuff.
anything bad.
Located in Louisville at 111 Dyke Street. Dyke Street. In Providence, I will definitely be visiting the Shelter Arcade Bar again.
If you're longing for a lawn as healthy and green as a Major League Baseball field, do what the pros do. Feed it with Scotts.
Yeah?
Nice catch, Agus.
That's cool, especially when you're working your ass off too. Time goes by way more quickly, too. And you look up like, oh, shit.
990wbob.com.
All right, we are back from break. Longest segment here, and we're going to have a special guest friend of the show, Joe Orga from Community Response RI, joining us halfway through this segment, and he's going to ride shotgun through the end of the show. But I'm going to finish up with some more Bilderberg stuff right now. Some of the other people who were there, some of the people like Wilbur Ross, who, like I said, is Secretary of Commerce under Trump. He's also, coincidentally, a Rothschild banker. And one of the things that he wanted to talk about is one of the things from the official agenda. Don't take my word for it here. You can just go to bilderbergmeetings.org/press release, and you'll see exactly what I'm seeing right now. And it's the key topics for discussion. Now, mind you, people called me bat-ish crazy years ago that I even believed in this, and now they actually have a website admitting all this stuff. So I'm going to quickly go over the list of events that they were discussing. But the second one is where I'll actually, the second and the third one is where I'll start, because Trump's advisor there, Wilbur Ross, Secretary of Commerce, he, one of the things I was very happy about, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump whatsoever, but one of the things I was happy about, and even Bernie Sanders fans, all libertarians and anarchists were pretty happy about the fact that he destroyed the TPP. However, Wilbur Ross, Rothschild banker, and now Secretary of Commerce and Bilderberg attendee, is talking about, and has openly talked about in the news, don't take my word for it, Google it, about reinventing the TPP under the TTIP. And if you take a look, their bulletins number 2 and 3 here on the list for the Bilderberg Group. So it's very important that we speak out against the TPP, the TTIP. It will completely destroy America and free trade, and it will just give corporations entire sovereignty over all of us. So we need to be wary of that, spread the information about that. But so here are the key topics from the press release from the Bilderberg Group this week. The Trump administration, a progress report. Now, like I said earlier, there's mixed theories out there, and I'm not convinced one way or another. Some people say that Trump is down with the Bilderberg Group and that agenda, and some people say that he's fighting against them. But it's hard to say he's fighting against them when he has not just Wilbur Ross, but also H.R. McMaster is there and other advisors. And number 2 and 3. Number 2 is a transatlantic relations, options and scenarios. 3 is a transatlantic defense alliance, bullets, bites, and bucks. The direction of the EU is number 4. Like I told you, the EU was created by this group. They created this group. Also, I've told you many, many times, this group has openly called for world government, one world order. Don't take my word for it. You can read all their quotes. Go to my first 2 shows on the past cast, episodes 1 and 2 of Demand the Truth on 990wbob.com. I break it down. I give you all the sources of these people openly admitting it. And number 5 is, can globalization be slowed down? I don't think so, unfortunately. Why is populism going? Number 7, the war on information. Okay, so these people are scared of fake news. They're losing their grasp on news. Alternative news sites all over the world are cropping up everywhere, like myself. And we're giving you guys the truth. I'm not financed by anybody. I'm paying out of my own damn pocket to give you guys this information. I'm taking time out of my free time to give you guys proof and information. So hopefully you guys, to all my loyal followers and listeners out there, please spread this information. It's one thing to listen to it and to digest the information, but the most important thing is to spread it. So anyways, getting back to the airport after that, I got to the airport, met up with Luke. Dan Dix was also there. And there's 2 separate sections where the Bilderbergers were coming in. And mind you, this is a group that wasn't admitted even existed a couple of years ago. So scattered throughout the airport where the normie Bilderbergers would go, the less important Bilderbergers would go, on the regular arrivals, there was people in dressed well in, you know, their little outfits, and they would hold a sign that said BM with a nice purple sign that said BM for Bilderberg meeting. And there was these people waiting there for Bilderbergers to get off. So as soon as I get up there was like 3 guys waiting for one Bilderberger. Me, Luke Rukowski, and Dan Dix. We followed them out all the way out. We were videotaping them, and we followed them across the street, and not across the street, but into the arrivals area. And there was a whole row of black Suburbans and black Cadillacs that got in there. And there was also, you know, sharply dressed men, bunch of strong dudes, guys with weapons, and they were just driving off after that. So I was doing that, and so once those guys came in, I started walking back, and then another gentleman who looked like some type of facilitator, possibly between the airport or the Bilderberg Group. I'm not exactly sure who this gentleman was, but then he comes by as I'm walking down and takes his camera and starts filming me, taking his camera, going all over me, my brother, all this other stuff. And he was like, "Oh, now we're even. Now we're filming. I'm filming you too." I'm like, dude, there's cameras all over this airport. There's cameras everywhere. There's cameras everywhere. It's over the airport. I was like, so that was interesting. That was kind of weird, creepy. But then so I was like, all right, these are like the lower level Bilderberg dudes. So I'm going to go over to where the private jet area was and see what's shaking over there. So I walked over down to the airport area, and you can see it's just a swanky little place cut off to the side. That day, I probably should have worn my suit and tie. It's like me, sometimes I'm wearing Jordans, sometimes I'm wearing a suit and tie, sometimes I'm wearing Ninja Turtle stuff. So it's very varied. I probably should have been wearing my suit and tie, probably would have survived in there a little bit longer. So I go in there, I'm wearing sunglasses and backwards hat, and I'm live streaming, by the way. This video is on my Twitter, at Will_Turbit, Turbitt. I go in there. There's steering members from the Bilderberg group there. There's people taking video, but it wasn't any mainstream video. There's an area cordoned off for media. You know, it's very nice. There's fancy food set up everywhere. People are talking, laughing. I go in, I'm live streaming, I'm shooting what's going on there. I still haven't been able to digest all the footage that I've taken because I know I've caught stuff on camera that I didn't even know I was looking at the time, because there's so many people there, so many things happening at the same time. So I go to the side and post up to the area, and then someone starts grabbing me, saying, "You can't be in here, what are you doing in here?" Grabbing me by the arm, trying to knock my camera and my phone out of my hands. I was like, dude, there's cameras all over here. And I was just pretending like I was lost. I was like, oh no, is this where the arrivals, or where's the departures that are just trying to talk about it? And the guy was getting physically violent with me and pushing us out of there. And it was just interesting to see the heads of all these Bilderberg groups, the world's leaders, meeting there, and nobody's paying them any mind. So anyways, I go back to the other place. I catch a Bilderberger there waiting for his baggage with his little attendee there. And I go up and I just, playing dumb the first time, trying to get him to talk to you. I try to give people the softball question the first time so they'll answer me, and then I'll get them really talking. So I walked up to him and I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going? I just want to thank you for all your work. What you do is amazing." And he was like, "This guy, he doesn't," his security guard's like, "Oh, he doesn't." And I was like, "He doesn't talk?" I was like, "I just want to say thankful." And he's like, "I'm not sure you know who I am." And I was like, "Yes, I do. You're a member of the Bilderberg group. You guys, plot world events, and I've been steering the world for a while. I think it's amazing what you do, to try and play dumb, see if he'll give me a nugget or some information or something like that." He didn't want to hear it, and then the guy says, "Oh, there's no Bilderberg meeting, there's no such thing, right?" And I was like, "So that BM on your sign isn't for Bilderberg meeting?" He's, No. And then I go walk over to the other guy who's waiting for Bilderberg thing. I have this all on video. It's like, "Yeah, this is the Bilderberg. This is for the Bilderberg meeting." Anyways, the next day I go back to the Bilderberg hotel where the meeting, and there's more and more of them arriving. Now these people are arriving in bulletproof cars. The whole thing is fenced off. There's a mobile security camera set up across the street. There's police on bikes, police at checkpoints, police everywhere. And these people are all meeting. It was just unbelievable to see with my own eyes all these evil, on record people, the richest, most important people in the world, literally meeting there in secret, and they weren't proud of what they were doing. They were not proud at all. Like, their faces were covered, the windows were blacked out, and when somebody didn't have the windows covered, they're holding their head and covering their eyes in shame. In shame. Like, they did not, when you're doing that, you're not up to any good. There was one person, one Bilderberg member, I couldn't make it up, was actually, the only one that wasn't holding their head in shame was somebody coming by with a camera and videoing us, which I thought was pretty funny. But the Bilderberg group has been existing for a long time, and just now people are starting to become aware of it. Like I said, this group was created by two Nazis, the Rockefeller Group, and Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, and it's still meeting till today and planning world events. U.S. representatives are meeting there secretly and illegally, and it's a terrible thing. We need to spread the word and wake people up about this right now, because we're no different than slaves or people that are run by kings. If we can allow the leaders of our world to meet in secret and literally plan out our life, and we're not doing anything about it, then we deserve our slavery. And my show here is trying to say, hey, we shouldn't be slaves. So you guys, please go to the BilderbergMeetings.org. Check that out. I'm going to talk a little more about Bilderberg too, and a bunch of other stuff, and my investigation into Seth Rich. But before I continue that, I would love to bring good friend of the show and correspondent here for Demand the Truth, Joa Orga from Community Response RI. Joa, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
So, Joe, you've heard me ranting here about the Bilderberg Group and all the stuff that's going on. I mean, I've said so much about the Bilderberg Group the last couple weeks that I really honestly don't know what to say about it anymore. I think it's the point where people need to take this information and do something about it. What's your take on the Bilderberg Group?
Well, all we know is the face of what's going on there. We don't actually know what's going on. But we can put a couple pieces of the puzzle together and see that they are colluding to have this special club and merge their corporations of business and other trade matters to better their own society and what they want to see in this world. But it's so powerful, it's so well connected that it's almost like they're creating a beast that can never be, it's like something that can never fail. And it really is. I mean, it's something that they put in place that that there's no competition. They are basically merging themselves to be that almighty thing. I just find this one guest really interesting because it's not business. It's not. All it is scientific research. And I'm talking about the Director General of the CERN, which is Fabiola Gianotti.
Mm-hmm.
Now I find him interesting to want to show up there because it's a research factor and all these rumors that are coming out of it about how they're creating this new Big Bang and then you've heard of I don't want to go into the conspiracy, but people talking about how we're switching timelines and stuff like that. But that could just be propaganda put out there. But
regardless of that, I think you bring up a great point, and this is the first time, to my knowledge, that a member of CERN was there. Anybody that doesn't know what CERN is, it's a miles and miles and miles long facility out in Europe where they smash atoms and particles together, trying to find the secrets of the universe. They admit they could create a black hole that would swallow up the Earth, possibly. They don't know what they're doing. These are the same scientists that were experimenting with the atomic bomb and didn't know if by setting off an atomic bomb they could incinerate the Earth's atmosphere, but they still did. These people are playing with fire, and this illustrates a great point, is because people called people like myself crazy for a long time to saying that there was a shadowy group of elite meeting in secret plot world events. Not only have they been doing it now for 65 years, but as you just said, they're not just dominating banking, they're not just dominating international business, they're not just dominating media, they're not just dominating politics and education, but they're also dominating science. They run every single thing. I'm completely proven right here. I'm vindicated. People need to send me champagne and chocolates because I was right here.
Would be nice.
It would be very nice, to be loved for once. But no, seriously, I've been proven right and vindicated about this. Another thing, switching gears here, I wanted to get your take on too, is that while I was down there, I met up with Lee Stewie on Twitter, my man B. Rich, also met up with Titus Frost and Dan Dix, and some of our evening there is on Twitter, and some of the stuff that we did. We went out to the last bar and did some other investigating into the last known place that Seth Rich was seen. Now, Seth Rich, anybody that does not know, is the murdered DNC staffer. Julian Assange intimated twice that he was the connection for the WikiLeaks, not Russia. Also, another ambassador from the UK said that he was. Also, Kim.com said that he was. So I think there's a high possibility to at least consider. Now, the family, I guess, didn't believe the official story, which was that he was robbed, although none of his possessions were taken. The family obviously didn't believe that story, so they hired a private investigator. The private investigator says, oh yeah, he was in connection to WikiLeaks, and then all of a sudden the parents were like, don't say that, don't say that. So no matter what, the parents obviously didn't believe the official story if they hired a private investigator in the first place. This guy is connected with WikiLeaks somehow. Anyways, he's ended up dead, and a lot of people believe he may have been the source for the WikiLeaks and the Podesta emails and so forth. So we went out there, we went to the bar, and these guys started asking a couple questions about Seth Rich at Lou's Pub down there in D.C., and there's a little plaque for him, a little memorial for them there, nothing really too big. But they started asking some questions, and then the next thing I knew, the bartender came over, and she came from outside of the bar to where we were, brought us a whole bunch of drinks, and then an extra round of shots with even extra rounds on top of that. And she was buying us drinks basically because we're asking. Then we went over and started talking to the bar manager there, and he said he was afraid to go forward with some of the information because he was being harassed, and the parents told him not to. But the crazy thing about it is he'd known Seth Rich, and he'd been there for a long time. Seth Rich also barely ever, walked. This place that he was found dead was only 2 blocks away. It said it took him like 2 or 3 hours to get to that place. So it's very, very strange. We're about to come out to a break before our final segment. I'm going to ask Joe Orga from Community Response RI his take on Seth Rich and a whole bunch of other things going forward. Before we do that, Joe, what's the best place for people to reach out to you and to donate to you?
Well, you can go to communityresponse.com, communityrespanceri.com/donate. And you can just check me out on Facebook, Joa Orga, JOAORGA.
And check me out on Facebook. I do a whole bunch of live videos there. Will Turbit, TURBITT. Twitter @Will_Turbit. And also YouTube /Demand the Truth. We are here live, 990WBOB.com, Renegade Radio, Demand the Truth, coming back with the final segment. I'm going to tell you the juiciest stuff about Bilderberg and Seth Rich on the other side. Stay tuned. Have any other curveballs you want to talk about in the last segment? Anything you want to bring up in the last segment?
Well, I did want to say one thing about the CERN, but it's kind of done, so I don't want to worry about it.
WBOB Wednesday, June 14th.
Yeah, I cut you off on
action
that.
heats up with an all-new clash of the internet titans. Internet trolls battle each other for social dollars live on the air. These trolls pull no punches and let the views fly. Discussion is never dull and always on the edge of reason. Clash of the Titans is a WBOB original production and is a can't-miss hour of broadcasting. Tune in live Wednesday, June 14th, part of a special run of broadcasting featuring an hour special of Psycho Sports and an all-new WBOB creation at 9 p.m. Wednesday, June 14th, it's the Clash of the Internet Titans.
The summer's here and the heat is on as CES Boxing returns to Twin River Casino Friday, June 9th as Worcester's own Kyrie Gregg battles Greg Vendetti, plus Ray Oliveira Jr. faces Jose Rivera of Harvard in a long-awaited rematch, along with the return of Providence's Anthony Marcellin and the highly anticipated debut of hard-hitting heavyweight Giuseppe Cusimano. Tickets on sale now at CESBoxing.com or the Twin River box office.
Keeping the average Joe in the know, it's Professor Clyde and the Wild Side.
Does that mean this is not even looked at? And this bothers me because they point to a gun. That's the #1 instrument in death, by the way, isn't it? So let's go to Home Depot, shut them down.
The Wild Side with Professor David Clyde. Catch up on all the action. Live Tuesdays, 8 p.m. and Saturdays, noon Eastern. Or check out the podcast when you want, right here on 990WBOB.com.
I'm just telling you, Bieber has a lot of problems tonight because he doesn't look like a guy.
Miko and Berkshire is dedicated to providing you practical advice, legal counseling, and service representation on your legal problem and the various ways it may impact your life. Choose a law firm where clients come first. When it comes to protecting your legal rights and your reputation, choose D'Amico and Birchfield, not your typical law firm.
I think I look like I'm 16.
Hey, Salk.
What's up?
Are you hosting the Rotunda again?
You're listening to 990WBOB.com, Renegade Radio.
I just mean that I look like I'm 23.
Welcome back. Final segment. I've been talking Bilderberg, Seth Rich, my trip down there, all the crazy stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have a chance to get to all the crazy stuff, so it's going to be online after this. And I'm here joined, last segment here, Joe Orga from Community Response RI. Check him out there, Facebook, JOAORGA. Check that out. And one of the things I wanted to mention also about the Seth Rich stuff, we'll close that up, is something's going on here, because not only that, Sean Hannity from Fox News, who I'm no fan of, basically started questioning the whole Seth Rich thing, and now they're trying to shove him out at Fox News. I'm no fan of Fox News or anything mainstream for that matter, but I think we're at a turning point now where things are starting to break through and people are starting to get this information, but yet some of these people that are running things in the Bilderberg group are kind of clamping down even further. And with such polarization between the SJWs and the left and the alt-right and the right-wing people, how do you see this playing out, Joe? Where do you see the world going in the next couple of years? Because it's very polarized. Who do you see dominating, or what do you see happening?
In the spirit of Bilderberg members, no comment.
Oh, see? Exactly. These guys have no comment. Chad and House rules. these are the people that have been running things for a very long time, and they refuse to tell you about it. And that's the craziest part about it all, is literally everything that I've talked about for the longest time is true, and it's crazy because there is now a few years ago they wouldn't even admit Bilderberg existed, but now there's a scarce amount. But you can go to Google and type in Bilderberg and you Google News there, and you'll see some hits. Charlie Skelton's probably got the best one. He's been covering Bilderberg for a very long time, and he's a very thoughtful, intelligent individual. I would suggest checking out this article from theguardian.com. It's called Bilderberg, the world's most secretive conference is as out of touch as ever. And it illustrates how out of touch this group is and elitist this group is. The only thing is, there's less people than there were several years ago, even a few years ago, protesting and exposing these guys. So that's why I'm here today. That's why Joe is out there doing what he's doing, is we got to spread this truth. We got to spread this information to other people so that they can take action. We can't, 8 people aren't going to take on the Bilderberg group with a protest or anything. We need more. And even this year you have the BBC reporting about the Bilderberg group and how these people meet illegally in secret. And some critics have accused the group, which has met every year since 1954, of plotting to oppose a one-world government. Well, it's not critics. There's an entire list of people that have openly said that. So, Joe, do you think the Bilderberg group and this top-down control mechanism is going to last? Because these people are grabbing on, and it doesn't seem like, although it seems like some people are waking up and taking action, to me it seems like they're out there, but it's not enough.
Well, the only way their agenda is going to last is if we keep on applying to it. So if you have to understand who these people are and like what businesses they run, and just do a boycott. And we have to practice that and follow our own path and what we want and how we want to succeed. If we just keep, giving them our time and money, then that's exactly what we're going to get. They're going to get our time and money.
Exactly. And spreading this information, forget calling people and sharing the show and spreading the information about the Bilderberg group. You want to stop, heads of Coca-Cola are there all the time, Heads of these, even this last year, somebody that was the former head of Coca-Cola was there. And stop drinking Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Just stop drinking Coca-Cola. Or Exxon, Shell, or, all these other companies.
It's hard to avoid things. Like, we have to buy gas and all that stuff.
Certain things you can't avoid, but, I think you'd agree with me here. We don't really have a choice here. It's whoever the Bilderberg group picks.
Sure.
So the few choices we have now is to be able to vote with our dollars. So when you're making a purchase, go to that corner store, you know?
Yeah, instead of going to, like, Shell, you go to Mom and Pop's, or, or look up anything you're doing.
Every little decision that you make in your life is affecting the revolution, You can go and you can go to, you're taking out your girlfriend or you're taking out your grandma to eat. You can say, hey, I'm going to go to Uno's. Or you can choose to go to a locally owned Italian restaurant or somewhere else. Every single action that you take can be revolutionary and should be revolutionary.
Absolutely. And, like, also even your local places, though, too. Like, a lot of places are owned by politicians and ones that are taking your rights away. So don't, I'm going to say it right now. The same guy that wants to take your guns away in Rhode Island is the same guy that owns Hot Club.
And Trinity Brewhouse,
and
right?
Trinity and local...
Josh Miller. And Josh Miller told Dan Badandi to go F himself.
Yeah.
So this guy who was a public...
He owes us $2.
Yeah, he owes us $2 for the F-Bomb Fridays. By the way, thank you very much for everybody that made F-Bomb Friday a success to help Devil Dog USA Incorporated. We raised over the amount, and I was there co-hosting alongside Tyler Salk, whose show is right before mine, Psycho Sports, and then he's also going to be co-hosting the Rotunda right after this, and with Scott Rotundo. And I was actually at the Rotunda of the U.S. Capitol there. I was in that building. It was very interesting to see some of the things going on in D.C. One of the things that I just missed is I was walking in front of the Supreme Court building. Elena Kagan, Supreme Court Justice, walked right by me. And I tried to catch up with her. Even my uncle was like, go get her, go get her, go get her. But I lost her. She went into some tunnel. I wanted to ask Elena Kagan. People that don't know who Elena Kagan is, she's a Supreme Court Justice. She's never been a judge a day in her life before the Supreme Court, but she worked for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, but I actually kind of would I would rather see someone... Oh, she worked for Goldman Sachs.
Yeah,
never mind.
Yeah. Well, I get
But,
from
like-
private, yeah, from a private sector you'd want.
I want someone that understands the position, but to have like a history with being a judge, it's not always like
No, it's not
the
always a good
qualifier.
thing. Yeah, no,
But
yeah,
but for instance, I would love Judge Napolitano.
Oh
on
yeah.
there,
See,
but-
Judge Andrew Napolitano is one of the few mainstream guys that I love. You know, he's one of the few people, although he's not really on mainstream, he's on Fox Business. I mean,
Right.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, he's another guy out there to support. He's been telling the truth for a very long time. And also Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs used to be on CNN. He started talking about the Amero. He started talking about the Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the Trilateral Commission. And there were shots outside of his house. They shot at a suburban house, death threatened him, and now he's been regulated to Fox Business. But what Joe is saying is right. Not only it's at least a dual-fold attack. So you have to spread the information that these guys are meeting, and we have to hold these people to the fire. And we have to call the FBI. We actually have to call the FBI and let them know these people are meeting illegally. But then you also have to do what Joe says and work outside the system. Don't go to Dunkin' Donuts. Go to your local coffee shop. You know.
By the way, Coffee Bean, Cranston.
Coffee Bean in Cranston. That's a good spot. We go before and after sometimes. They got good stuff. They're open 24 hours and not a corporation. You're going to want to get something to eat. Put the money with them. Corporations, if you're helping out McDonald's, Taco Bell, and all these corporations, these people, the heads of these corporations are meeting secretly to despise you, take your rights away, and take your jobs away. So why would you give them money? Don't do it. You know, make your own business. Grow your own garden. You know, the less dependent we are on the system, the less control these people have over us. And we really need to take that extra step. We can't have these Rothschild minions, these Nazis meeting secretly and illegally to destroy this. We got about a minute left. Joe, any parting thoughts? And also, again, what's the best place for people to get in touch with you and to donate to you?
Well, you can go to communityresponseRI.com/donate. But I want to go back to, you said, the garden. And, that's important, because if you're worried about pesticides in your food and everything, grow your own food. Get the organic seeds and everything. And you'll know exactly what you're tasting, and you're going to get the source.
And you'll feel better for doing
so. Or even just go to
too.
local farms, support your local business, and you're going to, look at the people who work there. Are they healthy? And that's going to determine if you're healthy.
Much better than going to Stop and Shop or something like that. Go to an actual farmer's market. So not only are we telling you guys the problems here, but we're giving you the solutions. Call the FBI, call Gina Raimondo, call Sheldon Whitehouse, call Jack Reed. Let them know that there's an illegal meeting. A group of Nazis are plotting world events. And also follow me on Twitter at Will_Turbit, TURBITT. Also stay tuned for the Rotunda with Tyler Saul co-hosting and Scott Rotundo. Stay tuned. And also check out the Pastcast, guys. Please, 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 please share the show. Share the videos. Share the Pastcast, because that's how we're going to have an effect. And if you don't like the way I talk, share the information another way. Just share the darn information. We need to do something, guys. I'm pleading with you. I love you guys. I will see you guys next week at 7 p.m. Stay tuned. Do not go anywhere for the Rotunda. Tyler Salk, Scott Rotundo, thank you so much to Joe, Oregon Community Response RI, Facebook Will Turbit, Demand the Truth, Renegade Radio, 990WBOB.com.
How about you with that segue between the Rotunda and...
I'm taking notes.
You're taking notes, dude. Like, damn, Will's stepping his game up.
Transition game on fleek.
I actually did bring him up just to do that, actually. I knew it. Because I was reading, like,